We've been blessed to be able to be joined by plenty of coaches during our time of Ball Club Confidential. Head coaches, Josh Heupel, Rick Barnes, Kim Caldwell, Tony Vitello. Assistant coaches, right down the list from offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, right through assistant basketball coaches.
Knoxville Smiles depend on us to make you smile better. Knoxville Smiles, are you happy with your smile today? Knoxville Smiles, we're all about smiles.
Hey Lance, what makes you smile?
Pancake blocks.
Everyone wants to talk about the pace of play. Kind of for the Tennessee fans that haven't seen you coach, haven't seen your teams play, that don't know, describe it.
So we're going to go 5-out offense. We're going to try to get the ball across half court in 2 bounces. So we're going to go as quick as we can to get the ball across half court. We're going to look to hit the home run pass for a quick layup first. It's not going to be there every time, obviously. And then we're going to look to pass it up to the wing and then drive. And then we're going to look to have our point guard go coast to coast and get a layup. And then we're going to go high ball screen, NBA 5-out offense, space and pace, and try to score fast. And when we're going to press, make or miss, variety of presses, we are going to switch that up a little bit. But we want to give our players a lot of freedom. We want to teach them to play. I like to have great players, not great plays.
Yeah, with all the uncertainty outside of our program, you had to create the buy-in from the guys that were inside of the program. And then you had to start letting people see that. And it's in the middle of COVID, so nobody was really around the program. And so you're truly trying to sell, who you are, what you're doing, and what the culture is, and how, you're changing things while you're doing it over a Zoom call. Nobody gets a chance to see anything tangibly. And one of the hardest things that, myself and our staff went through, and, Elijah's recruitment, him buying into what we were doing was a huge part of us kind of springboarding our first class that we would eventually sign. And smart, tough, competitive, couldn't pick anybody better to be kind of the tip of the sword on that side of it. And that started to change a little bit of the narrative. Once we got through spring ball, we got into the summer, and people were able to start coming around and being around the facility. They could tell that, there were some things that had changed and were changing inside of Tennessee football.
I love my childhood. I tell you what, I grew up with 3 brothers and a sister, and my sister was the second, and my older brother Toby. I don't remember him ever not working, and I can remember he worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken. We ate Kentucky Fried Chicken until I had a hard time eating it as later on, because he'd bring it home at night. We'd have it morning, noon, and night. And then my sister got killed in a car accident going into I failed the 1st grade, so I should have been going into the 9th grade, but I was going into the 8th grade, and it really did rock my world, and my little brother especially, because when my mom was working a lot, she really took care of him, and I was out. I don't remember ever not working. I had some kind of job as a kid, whether it was mowing grass, cleaning the floors at the 7-Eleven, working at Davis Esso, working at the pool room, just anything I could do, sweeping floors to make money. And but basketball, the one difference in me and my brothers, I was the one, and I don't know how it all happened, I was the one that got into sports.
What you inherited or encountered when you got here to what Josh Heupel inherited and encountered when he got here. I mean, do you see similarities there? I mean, you all hadn't had much success there for several years leading into when you got here, which is why they had so much change and turnover. Mm-hmm. Hadn't been to the SEC tournament in a long time. Football had struggled the last 10-plus years.
Right.
Is there some similarities you can see?
If me and Josh were eating lunch, we could tease each other, and you could go the direction I think you're kind of asking the question is, who had it worse? We could say, well, we didn't have a shortstop, or, there was no defensive back, or we couldn't trust this guy at this position. But I think you can flip it and look at it the other way. We both had a key component, and it was a location. You wouldn't start a restaurant at a location that you didn't think you could have success.
Yeah.
And here, there's ingredients with the fan base and other things involved where you're capable of having success. It's not going to be easy. It might be easier in a few places. It's dang sure not as easy as it is at some. But the right ingredients are there if you're willing to put in the work and you got good people working around you with the players. And he certainly did that. I think to do it as quick as he did speaks to the genius of his ability to call plays.
Yeah, these 2 classes will go down. And I'm talking about the senior classes will go down as a group that changed the future of Tennessee football and in some ways saved it. as we started to rebuild the cornerstone pieces to what it's going to be as we move forward. Guys that bought in to us immediately, and typically, there's a lot of pushback when you take over a program from a senior class that just lost a coach. They're skeptical about what's going to happen. They also see themselves, as only having another 10, 11 months inside of the program. It's hard sometimes to get them to buy in and become great leaders inside your program. In some ways, they got to sell, the head coach's vision, and that group of individuals did an unbelievable job of buying in and creating a culture within our locker room, and slowly but surely answering the questions about who and what we're going to be. And there's those questions at every stop. When you start your off-season program, when you start spring ball, when you start your summer training, when you start training camp, how do you handle a win? How do you handle failure during the season? There's all those things that are completely unknown. Nobody has anything to fall back on, and they did a great job of leading us. And, you said one of the key things, I think, is, our players and our staff, they do have fun. And that year we had fun competing together every single day on the practice field, but then competing with each other and for each other when we got to game day. And I think that's one of the things that, reinvigorized our fan base too, is they saw the way that our players competed. They could tell that they were prepared, and they could tell that they loved one another.
I'm Tennessee basketball player JP Estrella. Let me give you a tour here of the offices at Knoxville Smiles. Dr. Costa is placing implants with a robot, and it's all done digitally. There's no guessing with this since it's all robotic. Dr. Wilco is the newest addition to the office. He loves to research the latest and greatest in technology, so the other doctors go to him for the newest product information and techniques. Dr. Malone is building teeth in the mouth. To him, cosmetic bonding is more like artwork. He does this without cutting your teeth down. It's all about building them up. Guys, we still have a problem. Do y'all have a bigger chair?
Those airport either recognitions or sit next to somebody are rough, because our video coordinator talked about this. If we've got travel, we kind of plug that into so you sleep 2 or 3 less hours and get more work done.
Yeah.
Because you're going to sleep on the plane. So usually I have the same outfit on, the same hat. I sleep on the plane. So therefore I need 10, 15 minutes to wake up when I get off the plane. Getting onto the plane, it's been hectic and I'm kind of a hot mess getting there. So yeah, the airport run-ins, I guess I'm putting out an advertisement. Cut me a little slack with those. But it is awesome to go anywhere in the world, or even just our airport, and be greeted with people that, really enjoy what our guys are doing on the field.
Jordan or LeBron?
I'm a Jordan guy because of the era he played, and I know what he did through that era when the game was so different, so physical. And so could he be what he is today, what the game is today? He'd be Michael plus with the way they let.
He would, buddy.
Oh yeah,
He'd average 50 or about at 45.
Yeah, because it's just a different game today.
Favorite place you've been in this world?
Wow, that's a tough one. What I'd have to say is favorite places are who you're with, and my favorite places would always be with wherever my family is.
Was your plan not to miss a game? Because I thought, the whole time, like, she is never going to miss. She's going to have this baby early in the week and then not miss. And then you had the flu during childbirth. Did that knock you out of the Texas game?
Yeah, the goal was to, and this is how obsessive and crazy I am, the goal was to have the baby and then go to Texas or wherever we were going to be and coach the game. And so once we found out, I was really going to try to go to Texas and maybe not stand. I know I wasn't really going to be great, but just to be there, be on the bench, be around the team, and not even really announce the pregnancy. I've just kind of continued to go and see how long it took for people to figure out that I had the baby. But I had the flu, and at that point in time, with the flu, I still had thoughts of asking if I could go and meet the team there. But you don't want to get your team sick, and you don't really want to just am I this important? No, I'm not so important where I need to go and just sit on the bench, be in pain, and get people sick, even though they had the flu too. I just didn't know it at the time, and not really help, and they did great without me.
What was it like to watch that game on TV?
Not fun. It's not fun. It helped. I do think it helped. I do think I got to sit with my mom and my husband and watch it from a spectator's point of view, which is always very different than when you're watching film clipped up or watching it after the game. You're watching it live. You're yelling at the TV like a fan would. And, I'm arguing with my husband of, like, we teach them this. We teach them this. And he's yelling, why are we fouling late shot clock? I'm like, we teach them this. And so just seeing things from a fan's point of view, I do think made us better.
When you did you talk to the team at halftime? Was there any communication at all?
Nope. I felt it was best. I talked to them, sent them a message about what was going on. Again, my life has changed, but I am a private person. So being in the spotlight and all of this of having to answer to media at all times is a little bit different. So I did send them a text when I was in the hospital that when Connor had came, because he came pretty quick after the Vanderbilt game. It was early the next morning he was here. And so I told them that and then sent them a message that I was not going to be at the Texas game and I would see them when they came back. And then they were great.
Walking back into the gym for the first time for practice. What was that? I'm sure they were like, oh,
Yeah, I mean, I was in a lot of pain coming back into practice, and bless their hearts. I mean, I probably had to coach in practice and sit for 2.5 weeks, maybe longer. I don't know. And it's just baffling to look back. I mean, to have your coach be sitting there yelling at you, like not standing, not an aggressive, like I'm sitting there yelling at them on the sideline and they're listening. And I mean, I think that just speaks volumes to how dedicated they are.
Did it help when you had some older players like a Sam Spencer, being like another little floor general out there to know kind of what you're wanting, Joel Spear, knowing what you want?
Yeah, and I think our seniors and our leaders did an exceptional job of leading for somebody that they haven't known very long. It is hard, and I try to be empathetic. I've had coaching changes where it's hard to step up and lead for somebody that you don't really necessarily know what the standard is yet. So they did a really good job of picking up on the standard and how to coach and how to repeat things and how to put emphasis on the right things in a short amount of time.
I think there's been a lot of checkpoints along the way, and you talked a lot about them. About a lot of them in this 22 season that we had. I think one of the big milestones for us as a program was going back to 21, being on the road, ranked Kentucky team, us taking another step in how we prepared and how we competed, being able to fight through the end of the ball game. Offense, defense, special teams, the way defense finished that ball game, giving up a long conversion and then, going 4 straight plays and forcing the end of the football game in the right scoreboard for us. All of those moments are things that, man, I'm never going to forget, and something that as I look back on, these 2 classes of seniors that have left our program, the footprint and what they've, left behind them.
We were an absolutely horrible team. We won 1 game. And I tell my team the story every year. We won 1 game that year. That's why when we get ready to play teams that everybody thinks that we should beat, all I know is I was on a team that won 1 game. We went 1-19, and we beat a team that went 24-1 in back-to-back state championships. They lost 1 game over a 2-year period, and that was to a team that won 1 game. And so,
what are the odds of that?
And so you think about it. So I go into everything knowing that if you don't play well, you can lose. Because I can't even tell you how we beat that team, but we beat them, South Mecklenburg, and they had Walter Davis, who just passed away about a month ago, and it's the same school that Bobby Jones had gone to the year before. And all I know is we beat them by 1 or 2 points in Hickory at like 43-42 or 44-43, 45-43. 3 weeks later, we go to Charlotte, and they beat us 80-40. But I've always remembered that 1 game.
Any given night.